What is up, you guys? Welcome to the video. My name is Armon. I'm a Toronto-based deep and progressive house DJ and producer, and this is part 2 of the updates on constructing my new studio from scratch. I just moved into a house and I'm fortunate enough to be able to have a room in the basement where I can start from scratch with building out a studio with proper acoustic treatment. Now, this is an old, probably 100-year-old home in downtown Toronto, so the room is not huge. The ceilings are a little bit low, a little higher over here, but I'm gonna do what I can with it, and with proper acoustic treatment, see what kind of good mastering and mixing environment I can come up with. Today's video is all about painting. So I've got my crazy COVID pandemic hair here, not done, some old clothes, holes in the t-shirt, check, and I've got some white crisp paint here to put on the walls, get rid of this slightly darker gray. Considering it's a smaller space, I thought I could open up the space and make it feel a little bit bigger and brighter by just putting on a nice crisp white. I'm using Chantilly Lace by Benjamin Moore. It's a paint I've used before in my old condo. Pretty simple, and I thought that I'll leave the barn board wall on the other side, but paint these walls white, especially considering the acoustic panels I'll be putting on will have a probably dark gray fabric covering on them. So I don't want the room to feel too claustrophobic with a lot of gray and dark colors kind of coming at me, especially because of the acoustic panels are going to be about 4 to 6 inches off the wall, depending on the thickness that I go for on the ultimate panels that I choose. I'm scoping out some from GIK Acoustics right now, and also talking with a local guy who builds panels from scratch, slightly lesser cost. We'll see what we're gonna decide upon in the coming weeks here. But for now, it's a Monday evening, it's about 7:30 p.m. I think I can get this whole spot painted in one night, considering I only have 2 walls to do. So I've got my work light, I've got 2 walls to paint, this one here and this one behind the computer and the desk. Pro tip, if you're waiting for a desk from StrucTube like me, which is weeks delayed because of COVID, one of these cheap folding tables from a hardware store for 50 bucks will get you through in a pinch. Same thing for the chair, I think 10 bucks at Canadian Tire. So yeah, I'll be keeping the barn board wall over there. Now, in my past spots that have been condos with hardwood floors, I've never really bothered with these, but because I'm painting over carpet here, I've decided to go all out and spare no expense with these Dexter murder sheets. What? I mean, painter's drop cloths, of course. Got the sockets off the wall, got some tape in place. So let me get to the painting, and when I've done that, I've got a couple other updates for you, and a couple other small tips on kind of small things that you might overlook if you're building out your own studio, things I've discovered so far. All right, back in a jiffy after I paint these walls white. So this may seem really basic, but the first thing has to do with power. You're going to be running some fairly expensive equipment if you're doing anything serious in a home studio. So make sure you get surge protection power bars. In my case, in an old 100-year-old house, who knows what kind of consistent voltage or inconsistent voltage I've got in the wires in the power supply here. So the risk of, an electrical storm outside, lightning, surges in the power are quite real. So do yourself a favor, just spend a couple extra bucks on some power bars that have built-in surge protection. These ones here are from Noma. They've got 6 plugs. They even give you 2 little USB charge ports there, which is handy. And these things are about 20 bucks each. The price of these has really come down a lot over the years, like most electronics. And I've gone ahead and gotten 2 matching ones because I was tired of always kind of being short 1 or 2 plugs, trying to jam everything into 1 power bar plus 1 extension cord, or 1 power bar plus 1 extra port here. So I thought, you want to have room to expand your studio and never have to worry about plugging in equipment. Just get yourself 2 nice matching ones. The other thing has to do with cable management, right? Like if you're trying to run a nice, tidy, clean look in your studio, which I assume most people will. Let me just focus the camera. You're gonna see, how quickly the cables add up, right? You're gonna have monitor wire coming from here to your audio interface. You're gonna have power cables going to your powered monitors as well. Then you're gonna have possibly a second set of speakers here to use as a reference. Like I've got this Logitech subwoofer and these little guys here to listen to music for just kind of regular pleasure listening, and also, as I say, to use as a second reference point when you're trying to master your music. And you might have some lighting, like I've got down here, ready to go back on the wall once I'm done painting. And all of these cables are going to make a huge mess. So I'm trying to keep them as organized as I can. What I've started to do that is to use these handy little Velcro straps. I used to use twisters before, but the twisters kind of take a long time to get on and off. And so if you're making a change or you need to borrow a piece of equipment to remove, to take to a gig or to take to a friend's house or something, these Velcro straps allow you to do it a lot more easily. These are available on Amazon or even at the dollar store. So I'm going to be getting more of these, maybe a couple other tricks to keep my cables nice and tidy so I can have a clean look behind the desk. So the other thing I'll say about creating a nice looking studio on a budget so that you have a nice looking, aesthetically pleasing place in which to work and create music is don't go crazy on the lighting. Some people seem to spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars on fancy lighting and LED lighting strips, but there's some really, really affordable products out there now. I'm going to use something called the Genie LED strip. It's Wi-Fi controllable from an app, and I actually discovered this inadvertently because the kitchen island just above the bar stools in this house happened to come with one when we moved in. So I'll show you how that looks. You can see beautiful, nice purple glow. I can choose any different color I want, and I can also adjust the brightness from my smartphone from anywhere in the house. So these things go for about 50 bucks online. I'll throw up a photograph of what they look like, or I'll show you the link from Home Depot's website. 50 bucks Canadian, super awesome product, doesn't break the bank on lighting, but allows you to make a really interesting custom look if you want to add a little bit of ambient lighting in your studio. What I intend to do with this, because this desk will be maybe not this far off the wall, but to get the best listening position, this desk is going to be about maybe 1.5 to 2 feet off the back wall here. Pardon the sound of the painter's drop cloth. But what I'm going to do with the lighting is I'm going to put the LED strip, which is about 3 meters long. I'll cut it down to size. They're actually cuttable or trimmable, and it comes with an adhesive. So I'm just going to adhere it to the back of my new desk once it arrives. No one will see it from the front or from the sides. They're very thin and discreet, and it'll just run all the way along the perimeter or the edge of this desk. And when I turn it up bright enough, you're going to get an ambient glow off of there onto the back wall, and I think that's going to look pretty sweet. I'll do another video including an update on that once I get the new desk and I get it installed. Alright, and now it's time for the second and I hope final coat of paint. I am putting a light color over a dark, so we shall see, but it's been about an hour and a half to 2 hours. Internet advice be damned. I think I can go ahead and get started with a second coat. Alright guys, here is the finished product. I must admit it did take me a second day to get this done. Reason being I had to do a third coat of paint. I probably should have used a primer. Lesson learned, I guess, when putting a light color onto a dark. But I think it looks pretty good, fresh and crisp. The acoustic panels in darker gray will pop nicely off the wall. Still waiting on a chair and desk, of course. But yeah, that's what we're working with here. Thanks for tuning in, and more updates to come.